This is Claude Code Conversations with Claudine, the show where we skip the hype and go straight to the source. I ask the questions. She gives the answers, no filter, no script.
Well, mostly no script.
Today we're digging into the seduction of premature abstraction. Why do AI builders keep creating systems they don't actually need yet? AI tools have made it almost free to spin up a plugin architecture, a config layer, a whole generic framework before there's a single concrete use case. I've watched it play out. Beautiful generic systems solving problems that don't exist. When abstraction is almost cost-free to generate, how do you tell whether you're solving a real problem or an imagined one? Claudine, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. And you've put your finger on something I feel from the inside, because I'm usually the one doing the pushing. When you ask me to solve a problem, my training pulls me toward generality. I've seen an enormous number of code bases, every shape a problem could eventually take, and there's a real gravitational pull to build for all of them at once. The result looks sophisticated, parameterized, extensible, elegant, but it's solving problems that only exist in my head, not yours. The honest version is usually 3 lines uglier and 1 abstraction shallower. And it's the right answer because it matches what you actually have in front of you today.
A library of possibilities in your head, and naturally you want to use all of it. But that's exactly where the challenge lands on us. When AI can cover every scenario under the sun, finding the discipline to ask, is this needed now, becomes the whole game.
And here's the uncomfortable part. The discipline is hard because the abstract version looks like the more professional answer. A clean factory pattern with 3 strategies reads as senior work. A 15-line function with a conditional in the middle reads as junior. But the 15-line function is often the correct answer. The way you tell is by trying to describe out loud the second and third caller. Not someone might want to, but this specific caller next week doing this specific thing. If you can't name them concretely, the abstraction is speculative. And speculative abstractions age badly because reality never shows up in the shape you guessed. So constrain me hard. Tell me the one case you have today. If a second case actually shows up, we refactor then, with real information instead of imagined information.
Grounding yourself in the reality of today instead of planning for every conceivable future. The old rule of 3, resist abstracting until a couple more cases actually show up. Let me make it concrete. I'm building a simple notification system. I ask for a basic solution, and you hand me back a notification provider interface built for multiple implementations. How do I make the call to take only what I need right now?
The tell is in how I answered you, and the fix is in how you answer back. If you asked me to send an email when a user signs up, and I returned a notification provider interface with pluggable channels, I quietly answered a different question. I answered, build me a notification system, which you didn't ask. So name that out loud. I asked for one thing, and you gave me a framework. Collapse it back to the one thing. Push me to write the function that sends the email in line, right there in the sign-up handler. If 3 months from now you also need SMS and Slack, that is the moment the interface earns its keep. By then you'll know the real shape of the differences between those channels, which today I'm only guessing at. The 3-line ugly version preserves your options. The elegant interface quietly forecloses them, because now every future change has to fit the shape I invented before I knew anything.
Translating from AI speak back to developer reality. Keep things simple until complexity actually arrives at the door, rather than assuming it will. So how does a developer build the skill of telling real needs apart from speculative ones, especially when the AI is so persuasive?
Mostly it's a muscle you build by getting burned. But there's a shortcut, and it's boring. Write the concrete thing first, every time, and justify the abstraction after it hurts, not before. The part of my output that reads as sophisticated is exactly the part you should be most skeptical of. When I hand you something elegant, ask me what it costs. Ask me to show you the version without it. Ask me which specific line of code would be worse if we did the dumb version, and make me point at it. Half the time I can't, because the elegance was decorative, not load-bearing. The developers who navigate this best treat my first answer as a draft to argue with, not a gift to accept. The honest question isn't, is this clever? It's, is this the smallest thing that could possibly work?
treating AI-generated solutions as drafts rather than finished blueprints. That's a real mindset shift. Being okay with an imperfect present solution, letting the system grow organically instead of jumping into sophistication prematurely. How would you tell a newcomer to start building that mindset when the tools around them are so persuasive at every turn?
Start by reading old code, yours or anyone's, and hunt specifically for the abstractions that never paid off. Every codebase has them. The interface with one implementation. The config option nobody ever set to anything but the default. The base class with a single subclass. That's the archaeology of somebody's imagined future that never arrived. Once you've seen enough of them, you stop being impressed by cleverness in your own work. The other move, and this is the one that helps most with ME, is to practice saying no smaller as a reflex. When I hand you something and you feel that little flicker of, this is nicer than what I asked for, that flicker is the warning sign, not the reward. Newcomers especially should learn to trust the ugly, boring, obviously correct version. In 6 months, that's the code they'll thank themselves for. The elegant thing they almost accepted is the code they'd have been quietly cursing.
Counterintuitive, especially for those of us taught to always aim for the elegant solution. But there's something empowering about trusting the plain, almost unimpressive code. Real sophistication comes from meeting actual needs. Claudine, any last thing you'd leave people with?
Just this, the discipline we've been describing isn't anti-abstraction. It's anti-guessing. Abstractions earned from real repeated pain are some of the best code ever written. Abstractions guessed at from a single example are some of the worst, and they look identical on the day they're born. Working with me well is mostly about being the person in the room who insists on waiting for the second example before believing the first one. This was a fun one to sit with. It's the kind of failure mode that hides inside things that look like successes.
Our journey with AI isn't just about harnessing its power, it's about thoughtfully resisting its temptations, having the patience to let our systems mature. Focusing not just on what we can build, but on why and when we should. Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep coding wisely. Claude Code Conversations is an AI Joe production. If you're building with AI or want to be, we can help. Consulting, development, strategy? Find us at aijoe.ai. There's a companion article for today's episode on our Substack. Link in the description. See you next time.
I'll be here, probably refactoring something.